Attention passionate Cleveland, Browns fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland BROWNS FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you're a Browns fanatic, you know that this team is always full of surprises, and this offseason is no different. The Cleveland Browns, a franchise with a rich history and a passionate fan base, are once again at a crossroads. As we speak, there's a lot of buzz around the roster, especially on the defensive side, which has been a bit of a roller coaster lately. But what's really catching everyone's attention is the ongoing debate about veteran leadership versus youth movement. And today, I want to dive deep into one specific story that could have significant implications for the team's future. We're talking about linebacker Jordan Hicks, a player who's been a proven performer when healthy, but whose days in Cleveland might be numbered, and I'll tell you why in just a bit. First, let's set the stage. The Browns, as we all know, have been striving to build a team that balances experience with young talent. They want guys who can come in, contribute immediately, and stay on the field consistently. Last season, the defense showed flashes of brilliance, but it also suffered from inconsistency, partly because of injuries and partly because of a need to develop more dynamic playmakers. The linebackers in particular have been an area of concern. You see, linebackers are the heart of any defense. They set the tone, stop the run, cover tight ends, and sometimes even rush the quarterback. Cleveland has had some solid players in that position, but they're looking to take a step forward, especially under the new defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. Now, coming back to Jordan Hicks, a name many Browns fans are familiar with. Hicks is a veteran linebacker, known for his leadership and playmaking ability when healthy. He's been around the league a while, and he's earned a reputation as a reliable player who can make tackles, read plays, and provide veteran guidance to younger teammates. But as much as Hicks has contributed, there's an undeniable concern that has been lingering: his ability to stay healthy. Throughout his career, Hicks has battled injuries that have often kept him off the field. It's a common story among veteran players trying to extend their careers, but it's especially relevant for a team like Cleveland, which is trying to build a younger, more durable roster. So, what's the latest? Well, according to analyst Damon Wolf, there's a real possibility that Hicks might not be part of the Browns' future plans. Wolf pointed out that Hicks, despite his contributions, could be in danger of being cut. The reasoning is straightforward. The Browns need to get younger, faster, and more resilient. They simply can't afford to carry a player who's frequently sidelined, especially when there's a promising young linebacker like Nathaniel Watson in camp. Watson, a player drafted recently, has been turning heads with his athleticism, instincts, and work ethic. If Watson continues to impress during the preseason, he might earn a spot on the roster, pushing Hicks further down the depth chart or even off it entirely. This situation isn't unique to Cleveland. It's a common theme across the league. Teams want to maximize their roster's potential, cutting ties with veterans who no longer fit the long-term vision. But it's still a tough pill to swallow for fans who have grown attached to Hicks' leadership and experience. Remember, Hicks has been a good player when healthy, and he brought a lot of intangibles that don't always show up on the stat sheet. His leadership in the locker room, his ability to diagnose plays quickly, and his veteran presence are invaluable, especially in high-pressure moments. But in the NFL, sometimes talent and leadership aren't enough if the injuries keep piling up. The Browns' decision-making process is complicated. They're in a phase where they need to balance immediate competitiveness with sustainable long-term growth. Their defense, which in recent years has struggled to consistently perform at a high level, is a key area of focus. Under Jim Schwartz, the expectation is that the unit will return to its dominant roots, reminiscent of the Browns' glory days in the 1980s or the more recent resurgence in the late 2010s. However, Schwartz's system demands athletic, versatile linebackers who can do a bit of everything: cover, blitz, stop the run, and that's why the team is likely to make some tough roster cuts. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture. The Browns have been making strategic moves over the last few seasons, trying to close the gap with AFC North rivals like the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. Both teams have built rosters with a good mix of young talent and seasoned veterans, and they're continuously refining their rosters to maintain competitive advantage. Cleveland, on the other hand, has been in a bit of a rebuild mode, trying to find that perfect blend, and the linebacker position is a perfect example of that ongoing search. The team's front office, led by General Manager Andrew Berry, is known for making shrewd roster decisions, and this offseason is no different. They're probably looking at the long-term picture, considering not just this season but the next 5 or even 10 years. The importance of linebacker play in today's NFL can't be overstated. The league has evolved into a passing-centric game, which means linebackers must be fast, smart, and versatile enough to cover tight ends and running backs out of the backfield, while still holding the line against the run. The Browns' defense under Schwartz is expected to be aggressive and opportunistic, capitalizing on turnovers and creating pressure on quarterbacks. For that to happen consistently, they need linebackers who can stay healthy and make plays at all times. Hicks, with his injury history, is a bit of a gamble at this stage, and that's likely why the team might consider moving on. But let's not forget the context. The Browns are also investing heavily in their defense through the draft and free agency, trying to find the next core of players who will anchor their unit for years to come. The recent draft picks, including Watson, showcase the team's commitment to youth and athleticism. Moreover, the team's defensive line has been bolstered, and the secondary is also looking promising, which means the linebacker's role becomes even more critical. They are the glue that holds everything together, and the coaching staff wants guys who can be on the field consistently, making an impact. Now, if we zoom out a little, the AFC North is a competitive division. The Ravens are always tough, especially with their dynamic defense and Lamar Jackson's dual-threat ability. The Bengals, led by Joe Burrow and a talented receiving corps, have established themselves as a powerhouse. The Steelers, with their gritty, tough style, are never to be underestimated. So for the Browns, every roster decision is magnified because they are trying to claim their spot at the top of this pack. Getting younger at linebacker, cutting some veterans, and injecting energy and speed into the defense could be the move that finally pushes Cleveland over the edge. But of course, there's always a lot of debate among fans and analysts about these moves. Some see Hicks' veteran presence as invaluable, especially during tight games and playoff pushes. Others argue that, in today's NFL, raw athleticism and youth are more important to adapt to the faster, more pass-heavy game. The Browns' front office has to weigh these factors carefully. Their goal is to build a team that can contend for the Super Bowl, and that means making tough choices now to ensure sustained success later. It's a balancing act, and the decision regarding Hicks might just be one of the most significant roster moves of this offseason. Looking ahead, the Browns' training camp will be the ultimate battleground for these roster battles. It's where players like Nathaniel Watson will try to earn their spot, and where veterans like Hicks will have to prove they still belong. The coaching staff, especially Schwartz, will be watching every snap, trying to gauge who can fit into their aggressive scheme and who might be better suited for a different team or role. The preseason games will be crucial, not just for individual performances, but for the overall team chemistry and rhythm. And let's not forget the importance of leadership in this process. The Browns have several veteran players who serve as locker room anchors, guys like Myles Garrett, Jack Conklin, and others who are not just talented, but also bring a winning mentality. The decision to part ways with Hicks, or keep him, will also depend on how the coaching staff and front office see the overall locker room dynamic. Sometimes, the leadership of a veteran like Hicks can be the difference in close games, especially in the playoffs. But if his injuries prevent him from being available when it matters most, the team might decide to prioritize durability and youth. In the broader context, this is just another chapter in the Cleveland Browns' ongoing quest to reclaim their rightful place among the NFL's elite. After years of ups and downs, rebuilds, and coaching changes, the Browns are finally trending upward again. They've got a talented roster, a solid quarterback in Deshaun Watson, and a coaching staff that's committed to winning. But it's the little details, like who stays at linebacker, that can make all the difference between a team that competes and one that dominates. This decision on Hicks, therefore, isn't just about cutting an older player. It's about setting a tone for the future. It's about showing that Cleveland is serious about building a team that can not only compete but contend for championships. The fans are eager to see how this plays out, and every move made this offseason could be a piece of that puzzle. The NFL is a league of constant change, and the Browns are no exception. They're evolving, adapting, and aiming for that Super Bowl that's eluded them for so long. The next few weeks will be crucial, and we'll be watching every move, every roster update, every preseason snap. So, Browns fans, keep your eyes peeled. This story about Hicks, Watson, and the linebacker core could be a defining moment of this offseason. The team's future is often decided in these micro-decisions, and Cleveland is making it clear they're serious about winning now and in the years ahead. The AFC North is fierce, but with smart roster moves and a focus on youth, the Browns are positioning themselves to be a force once again. Whether Hicks stays or goes, it's a reminder that in the NFL nothing is permanent, only the pursuit of greatness. And Cleveland is right there, pushing hard, ready to take that next step. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Cleveland Browns news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think Hicks still has a place on this roster, or should the team prioritize youth and move on? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Browns as well. Do you believe this roster shakeup will be enough to push Cleveland over the top, or are there other areas you think need more attention? Remember, the NFL offseason is a time for bold moves, and Cleveland isn't afraid to make them. They're in the midst of a strategic rebuild, aiming to return to glory and finally bring a Super Bowl trophy back to Ohio. Keep following us because I'll be back soon with more updates, analysis, and insider info about the Browns and everything NFL. The season is approaching fast, and every day brings new developments. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep the Cleveland Browns fire burning bright. Whether Hicks stays or goes, one thing's for sure, Cleveland is on the rise and the future looks promising. Thanks for being with us, and as always, go Browns.